What was it like being around DMX?
DMX was dangerous, man.
Straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it, nigga. Bring it. I don't. Bring it. Bring it.
In Los Angeles, certain gangs like the LA Crips have made it a habit to demand rappers check in when they come through the city. And it's led to all kinds of messy situations. But when they tried that nonsense with DMX, they found out real quick they were playing with fire. This was DMX we're talking about. The man was wild, raw, and never one to back down. His rap sheet was so long, jail practically had his name on the guest list. He wasn't just unpredictable. He was chaos wrapped in muscle and rage. The whole checking in thing has been going on for a minute now. Gangs trying to shake down rappers when they hit town. It's almost become some twisted street tradition. They even gave it a name like it's official or something. And Big U, he's one of the main dudes behind this so-called check-in system. And guess what? He's locked up now too. Big U made it sound like some military operation. He once said it's like trying to fly through restricted airspace. Like rappers gotta get clearance just to show their face in someone else's city.
And nobody in this nigga crew running behind him to stop this nigga. So I'm like, whoever this nigga is, he official. They ain't want no smoke with this nigga.
He tried to make it sound strategic like politics or warfare. But let's be real, a lot of people see right through it. Because when you break it down, these so-called rules only seem to apply to black artists and rappers. That's what makes it even more twisted. It's like gatekeeping your own community. And if there was one person you couldn't try that weak move on, it was DMX. Trying to check DMX, huge mistake. This man didn't play by anybody's rules. He was built different, fearless and reckless in a way that made people nervous. Fat Joe even dropped a wild story. He said he, Big Pun, and DMX had just wrapped up a show, and when they stopped at a gas station, some dude walked in with a flashy chain. DMX didn't hesitate. He snatched it right there on the spot. That was the kind of vibe DMX brought everywhere he went. Untouchable and straight up dangerous. And then you've got the Aries Spears story.
But what was it like being around DMX?
DMX was dangerous, man. When you around him, he's like, you don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Very unpredictable.
According to Aries, he was just at an event, trying to hustle his comedy CD. So Aries Spears was out here hustling his comedy CD, trying to get celebs to co-sign it, even DMX. But things didn't go how he expected, because apparently DMX wasn't feeling the impressions Aries used to do of him. And trust, DMX wasn't the type to laugh it off. Aries said DMX looked at him and went, "Yo, dog, I need to holler." That's when things got intense. DMX led him into a locker room, but it didn't stop there. Out of nowhere, like 30 dudes followed them in and formed a circle around them. Then one of DMX's bodyguards slammed the door shut and posted up in front like a bouncer. Inside, DMX locked eyes with Aries and started pressing him about the impressions. Aries tried to calm it down like, it was all love, just jokes, no shade or disrespect. He was just trying to be funny. But this wasn't the time for laughs. Still trying to save the moment, Aries pulled out the CD he'd been handing around. DMX looked at him and said, "Come to my hotel later. Let me hear it. If it's good, cool. If not..." And then he hit him with that signature DMX growl, the kind that shakes your spine. But then came the part that had Aries shook to his core. DMX, without missing a beat, pulled a razor blade out from under his tongue. Yeah, you heard that right. Man had a blade in his mouth the whole time like it was nothing. Aries said after that, he wasn't going anywhere near that hotel. CD pitch over, game over. He dipped. Fast.
We in LA. When I go to Chicago, I respect Chicago. Wholeheartedly. I check in. When I go to Atlanta, I check in. And I don't think nobody is safe. I know dudes right now from LA who are actual gang members who have been robbed for their jewelry.
And it doesn't stop there. Jay Pharoah got caught up too. He said they were on stage performing with DMX, and DMX got so hyped, throwing fists in the air, he accidentally socked Jay right in the face mid-performance. That's how wild DMX energy could get, unpredictable to the max. Then there's another wild story. Memphis Bleak shared it. Bad Boy Records was chilling on the beach in Miami just vibing. Mace pulled up on a scooter and the second DMX laid eyes on him, He took off chasing Maze down the beach. No hesitation. Bleak, seeing DMX for the first time ever, was stunned like, what is going on? DMX wasn't just a rapper. He was a whole storm in motion. DMX didn't fear anyone, and when it came to gangs, he had zero respect. Didn't matter who you were repping. That no-nonsense attitude bled straight into his beef with Kurupt, a West Coast rapper tied deep into Crip culture. Kurupt wasn't just any rapper. He was part of the Rollin' 60s Crips and managed by Big U, one of the biggest names in that world. But DMX, he didn't care about affiliations, street ties, or who was connected to who. He was ready to go head-to-head with anyone. Things got real dark between them. It got so serious that Kurupt allegedly became the target of a hit, and it didn't end quietly. 2 of his bodyguards were killed, and Kurupt barely made it out alive. The streets lit up with rumors that DMX might have had something to do with it, and considering his wild, untouchable rep, people didn't even question it. They believed it. To understand how crazy this beef got, you gotta rewind to the early 90s.
The United States of America and all these countries have what is called airspace. If you invade their airspace with a plane, they consider that an act of war. You can choose not to, and it's gonna be a problem. If dudes come and you move it in a certain way, if you choose not to check in, you suffer the consequences.
Back then, DMX was running New York's underground scene. Raw talent, gritty style, and straight-up dangerous energy. Meanwhile, over on the West Coast, Kurupt was just getting started. In 1992, at just 19 years old, he and his partner Daz Dillinger signed with the iconic Death Row Records. That move changed everything. The duo became known as Thaw Dog Pound, Kurupt reppin' Rollin' 60s Crips, and Daz holding it down for the Rollin' 20s Crips out of Long Beach. They weren't just some street duo either. These guys helped define a whole era of West Coast rap. Soon, Thaw Dog Pound morphed into something bigger. They became the Dog Pound Gangsta Clique. This crew wasn't just deep, it was legendary. It had names like Snoop Dogg, Nate Dogg, and RBX in the mix. Heavy hitters, all of them. Their big break came when they featured all over Dr. Dre's legendary 1992 album, The Chronic. That exposure was major, putting them front and center in the game. And in 1993, they doubled down by playing key roles on Snoop Dogg's debut Doggy Style, dropping verses and skits that became instant classics. By 94, Thaw Dog Pound was ready to break out on their own. They kicked off the rollout for their debut album Dog Food with the single, What Would You Do? And it hit. That track shook the industry and even landed a Grammy nomination in '96 for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group. Kurupt was rising fast.
The show, me, him, and Big Pun in Brooklyn. And after the show, we stopped at the gas station. Meanwhile, the whole crowd was just going, stop, shut him down, open up, chop, oh. Like, DMX was crazy.
But so was the tension with DMX. And it was only a matter of time before things exploded. When Dog Food finally dropped on Halloween, October 31st, 1995, it went straight to the top. Debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200, it sold over 270,000 copies in just the first week. The Dog Pound had officially arrived, and their spot in hip-hop history was locked in. By 1996, things were heating up, not just in the booth, but in Kurupt's personal life too. He started dating Brooklyn rapper Foxy Brown, and by 1997, the two were engaged. But just as Kurupt was locking things down, trouble was brewing on the East Coast. DMX was rising fast and loud. After signing with Def Jam, he dropped his first single, Get At Me Dog, in February 1998. That track made noise, peaking at number 39 on the Billboard charts. It was raw, gritty, and powerful. A clear warning shot that DMX wasn't here to play, and he backed it up hard. Later that same year, he released It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, a debut album that flipped the whole game upside down. DMX wasn't just a rapper anymore, he was a full-blown superstar. But while DMX's star was rising, things started getting messy behind the scenes. By mid-1998, the streets were buzzing with rumors that DMX and Foxy Brown, who was still engaged to Kurupt at the time, had something going on. Sneaky links are just gossip, depends who you ask. According to Foxy Brown, it was Rough Riders member Eve who started spreading the tea, saying she saw something between Foxy and DMX and ran back to tell Kurupt. That set off a whole chain reaction. Foxy and Eve fell out, with Foxy saying Eve twisted everything and made it way bigger than it really was. She claimed DMX just had a little crush, and that Eve was doing too much by running her mouth. To make things even more complicated, both DMX and Foxy were signed to Def Jam and were on the Survival of the Illest tour that summer. So you already know the tension backstage was real. Then came December 98, and boom, DMX dropped his second album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, and it went crazy. But one track in particular had people talking heavy, Bring Your Whole Crew. That song sparked a whole new round of drama. DMX was going off in the lyrics, talking about being out for blood, Crips being at war, and questioning how much trash someone could talk with his lips on the floor.
So we on stage, right? And we doing Party Up and we killing it, you know what I'm saying? DMX accidentally snuffs me. That's some real shit. I was like, wow, this nigga's knuckles is hard as a motherfucker.
DMX accidentally.
He accidentally snuffed me.
How?
Is he just
going
No,
out?
look. 1, 2, now.
He hit me outside.
Oh, shit. I was like, God dang.
He even referred to someone as a fake pit and dropped bars that sounded real personal. People were convinced the shots were aimed straight at Kurupt. DMX never said his name. But fans read between the lines, and the message felt loud and clear. Fans were quick to speculate that DMX's track was a slick jab at Kurupt, connecting the dots between the lyrics, the dog pound, and that line about a fake pit. It sounded like DMX was comparing Kurupt to a knockoff pit bull, and then it got even darker. DMX started rapping about choking someone out and taking them out entirely. A lot of folks took that as a direct warning for Kurupt to fall back before things got real. Even though DMX never dropped Kurupt's name outright, the timing of everything made it almost impossible not to link the beef together. By 1999, that quiet tension turned into straight-up war. Kurupt found out DMX had been seen hanging with his fiancée, Foxy Brown, behind his back. That was the final straw. Things exploded fast after that. Then came January 26, 1999. Foxy dropped her album, China Doll. And guess who was featured on the track? DMX. The song was called Dog and a Fox, and just the title had people raising eyebrows. That collab didn't just confirm that DMX and Foxy were spending time together. It publicly flexed it in Kurupt's face. To make it even worse, Kurupt claimed he was supposed to do that song with Foxy originally. So not only was DMX hanging with his girl, but he also swooped in on a track that was meant to be their duet. That wasn't just a diss. It felt like betrayal in surround sound.
Yo, get back here. Wait till I catch you, nigga. So, you know me, I'm in the back seat like, what happened between him and Mace? Like, who is this nigga? And nobody in this nigga crew running behind him to stop this nigga. So I'm like, whoever this nigga is, he official. They ain't want no smoke with this.
At this point, it wasn't just industry beef. It was personal. Kurupt had enough. While he was working on his second album, Tha Streets Is a Mutha, he decided to clap back loud and clear. He recorded Calling Out Names, a diss track that went at everyone. DMX, 50 Cent, Ja Rule. Nobody was safe. The track leaked before the album even dropped, and it sent shockwaves through the game. Kurupt opened the first verse with heat, calling DMX out directly, using some harsh language, calling him out by name and saying the only X he respects is Exhibit or RBX. He didn't stop there. He came for DMX about Foxy, accusing him of snatching his girl and saying, "You can have her." Then he called both of them out for chasing money and clout. Kurupt made it crystal clear. If DMX ever stepped foot on the West Coast, he'd get stripped and beat down just for getting involved with Foxy. Kurupt even threw in a cold flex, bragging that he already moved on to a new girl, saying his ex was acting up, tossing another jab at Foxy and the whole scandal she'd kicked off. In the second verse, Kurupt turned his attention to the Rough Riders crew, and it wasn't love. He threw shade at everybody, except Eve. He made sure to shout her out, and that shout-out basically confirmed what Foxy had been saying all along, that Eve was the one who spilled the truth to Kurupt in the first place. Then Kurupt really snapped, yelling out, "Forget Rough Riders, forget the firm, forget Belly." He was burning bridges in every direction.
Not even a rebirth. He's finna give you back what he always been. A beast on the mic with the vocals that can't nobody touch. He gonna make you go get the dictionary to understand every word he just spit too.
The track was pure fire, raw, messy, and full of real emotion. This wasn't just rap beef anymore. This was war. The Firm, that was the rap crew Foxy Brown was part of, led by none other than Nas. And Belly, that was the cult classic film from 1998, starring both DMX and Nas. So when Kurupt went off in calling out names, those disses weren't just aimed at DMX and Foxy. Nas caught strays too. Why? Because Nas had publicly co-signed the whole DMX-Foxy connection in an XXL interview, even saying Foxy should have been with someone from New York instead. That comment alone had people looking at Nas sideways. And Kurupt wasn't about to let that slide. He ended his diss track by straight up mocking DMX's iconic "Get at me dog" line, copying DMX's signature growl with a sarcastic twist, like he was daring him to respond. On top of that, the original version of the track even had Kurupt clowning DMX right from the jump. No mercy, all smoke. But things didn't just stay in the booth, they got deadly. On October 17th, 1999, around 11:40 p.m., Kurupt was at Echo Sound Studios in LA, putting in work on his album, Tha Streets Is a Mutha. That's when gunshots rang out. It was chaos. Kurupt's bodyguard, Dwayne Dupree, was shot multiple times in the chest and died at the scene. Two other rappers, Wyler Gibbons and Javon Jones, got hit too, with injuries to the leg and foot. Right away, the streets started talking.
Kurupt, he killed two of his bodyguards. They're trying to kill him. Killed two of his bodyguards. They blamed it on me because he made a song about me. Even though nobody really heard the song. You know, being that he made a song about me, I had to be the one doing it. I'm not pissed off at a whack rap.
With the calling out names diss still fresh, fingers started pointing at DMX. People thought maybe this was retaliation, that the beef had crossed the line, but DMX's team was quick to shut that down. A rep came out and said, DMX is in Miami, recording his album. He has no knowledge of this. And DMX himself denied it too, saying he was mad about the accusations and had nothing to do with the shooting. Still, even with the official statements, rumors didn't just disappear. People knew DMX's reputation. He was wild, intense, and had a temper. So the whispers continued. Then just a month later, so on November 16th, 1999, Kurupt finally dropped Tha Streets Is a Mutha. And yep, the drama-filled diss track calling out names was right there, unedited and raw. But Kurupt didn't stop there. On another track titled Who Ride With Us, he pushed it even further. At the end of the song, there's a wild skit. Kurupt's flipping through fake radio stations, and one of them, straight up parodying DMX. They had someone doing a whole fake DMX voice, growling and talking wild, clearly making fun of him again. It was bold, straight up taunting. Kurupt wanted it known, this beef wasn't going anywhere. But DMX, he wasn't staying quiet either. On December 21st, 1999, he fired back hard, dropping his third studio album. And then there was X, and trust, he had something to say. DMX dropped one of his most legendary tracks on, and then there was X, the explosive anthem Party Up in Here. Most people remember it as a club banger, but underneath the high energy beat, many believe it was a full-blown diss aimed straight at Kurupt from the very first line.
I don't like Eve. Like, I don't like her. It has nothing to do with music. It's something that she did that was very disrespectful.
Y'all gonna make me lose my mind up in here, up in here. DMX made it clear he was done playing. He was sending warnings to all the clowns in the game, and when he said folks could get done dumb quick, fans took that as a chilling reference to the Echo Sound Studio shooting that left Kurupt's bodyguard dead just months earlier. Then came that bar about the gun clicking and fights breaking out over some dumb shh. It hit too close to home, especially with the drama still fresh between DMX and Kurupt. The second verse, he went in deeper. DMX clowned rappers, saying they were nothing but cartoon characters, not even good actors. A lot of people felt like that was DMX calling Kurupt fake, plain and simple. Then he really got personal, calling someone whack and twisted, and even throwing shade at Kurupt's messy situation with Foxy Brown. He referred to her as a hoe in the lyrics and vented hard about dudes fighting over women who don't even belong to them. That line hit hard. It was clearly aimed at Kurupt, who had been engaged to Foxy during the height of the scandal. But DMX wasn't done. The third verse took it up another level. He said, "You keep running your mouth, you gonna blow your lung out." Like he was warning someone to shut up before things got dangerous. He even hinted at making someone disappear, with fans picking up on the line about being missing.
Is you and X issue actually over her?
Totally.
Oh, so X was messing with her when y'all was together?
Totally. Then she took one of my concepts. We was gonna make a record called The Dog and the Fox.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then she went and did it with Earl.
It didn't help that folks were already whispering about DMX possibly being linked to that Echo Studios incident, even though he denied it. What made Party Up such a devastating diss wasn't just the bars, it was the impact. The song was everywhere. Clubs, radio, movies. It was a global smash. And for Kurupt, hearing DMX mock and stomp on him through a chart-topping anthem must have felt like salt in an open wound. DMX played it smart. Instead of dropping another diss track, he made a record that dominated the world and still got his message across loud and clear. Then came January 17th, 2000, the American Music Awards, held at the legendary Shrine Auditorium in LA. DMX showed up in the press room, and of course, reporters couldn't wait to ask about the tension with Kurupt. But his answer? Surprising. DMX simply said there wasn't any issue between them. Not dealing with anything, he told the press. Fans were shocked. After all the shots in Party Up and the back and forth buzz flying all over the industry, DMX brushed it off like it was nothing. A cold move, like he'd already won and didn't even need to acknowledge it anymore. So why did DMX suddenly downplay the beef? Some folks thought it was just DMX being slick, brushing Kurupt off like he wasn't even worth the energy. Others believed it was a smart, calculated move, maybe even to shift attention away from all those whispers tying him to the Echo Studios shooting. Whatever the reason, DMX played it cool, and that silence spoke volumes. Meanwhile, Kurupt stayed quiet too. Even with Party Up blowing up worldwide, blasting from every club, radio station, and movie soundtrack, he didn't fire back with another diss. Nah, instead, he switched lanes. On July 17th, 2001, he dropped his album Space Boogie, Smoke Odyssey, and on one of the tracks, Just Don't Give A, he finally addressed the lingering tension. In that track, Kurupt let it be known he was down to squash the beef with DMX. No more shots, no more drama, just moving on. But that wasn't completely the end of it. Fast forward to August 23rd, 2005. Kurupt released another project, Against the Grain, and on one track, Speak On It, he brought that old smoke back, but this time in a subtle way. The song touched on the industry's habit of comparing rappers like 50 Cent, Ja Rule, and DMX to Tupac. And Kurupt?
How are you dealing with the conflict with Kurupt?
All right, first of all, there is no conflict with Kurupt. You know, so I'm not dealing with anything.
He shut it down quick, making it clear there would never be another pack. Then, just to make sure no one missed the message, he name-dropped DMX directly, saying he wasn't the new Tupac either. It was a clean jab, not a full diss, but enough to stir some old tension again. Still, after that, the whole feud started fading into the background. No more diss tracks, no more interviews, just silence, until something wild happened years later. In 2017, nearly 2 decades after it all started, fate stepped in. Kurupt and DMX ran into each other at an airport, and instead of drama, something different went down. Peace. According to Kurupt, the encounter was cool. No yelling, no beef, just respect. The two finally buried the hatchet, face to face. After all the years, all the music, all the madness, it ended with a handshake. And that's how one of hip-hop's wildest beefs came full circle. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share it with your people. And we'll catch you on the next one.